When millionaire Ellis Palmer notices his anxiety-ridden teenage son connecting with a struggling barista in ways he never could, he hatches a desperate plan to keep his son from moving away. But as time runs out, Ellis discovers that his money can't buy what matters most. Before we continue, consider my humble request to like and subscribe. It's completely free. Ellis Palmer sat in the corner of Beanworks Cafe, hiding behind his laptop and a cooling cup of coffee. From his strategic position, he could observe the entire space without drawing attention. At 58, his silver hair and unassuming clothes helped him blend into the background, exactly how he preferred it these days. His gaze drifted to the counter where the young barista worked. Lily Chen moved with practiced efficiency, her dark hair pulled back in a messy bun, smile warm but tired at the edges. There was something genuine about her that had first caught Ellis's attention 3 weeks ago. Ellis checked his watch. It was almost 4. Noah would arrive soon. The familiar ache of helplessness settled in his chest. After the last disastrous attempt to connect with his son had ended with Noah having a full-blown anxiety attack in a crowded restaurant, the family therapist had been clear. Give Noah space, but remain consistently available. Let him come to you when he's ready, Dr. Myers had advised. Pushing will only make him retreat further. The bell above the door jingled, and Ellis's breath caught. Amanda entered first, her posture rigid as always, scrolling through her phone with the intense focus he remembered from their marriage. Behind her, shoulders hunched and hands buried in his oversized hoodie, shuffled Noah. At 15, their son had his mother's delicate features but Ellis's serious eyes, when you could see them beneath the fringe of hair he used as a shield. The boy looked thinner than when Ellis had last seen him 4 months ago. The divorce agreement promised reasonable visitation, but after Noah's panic attack, Ellis had agreed to step back temporarily. Their communication was now limited to unanswered texts and birthday cards. "The usual, Miss Walker," Lily called to Amanda, who nodded without looking up. "And for you, Noah?" Lily's voice changed when addressing the boy, softer, more patient. Noah mumbled something inaudible. "Sorry, I didn't catch that," Lily said, leaning forward slightly. "Just water," Noah managed, eyes fixed on the counter. "Water's boring," Lily replied with a gentle teasing tone. "How about I make you something special? Not on the menu. No pressure if you don't like it." For a brief moment, Noah's eyes lifted. He gave a small nod. Ellis watched, transfixed, as Lily crafted whatever concoction she had in mind. She narrated her actions casually, as if she wasn't trying to engage Noah at all, just thinking aloud. "Bit of this, touch of vanilla, dash of cinnamon, because why not?" When she slid the drink across the counter, Noah actually reached for it without prompting. "I call it quiet courage," Lily said, "for the days when just showing up took everything you had." Noah's lips twitched, not quite a smile, but something close. "Thanks," he whispered. Ellis felt a knot in his throat. In the span of 2 minutes, this barista had connected more authentically with his son than he had in months of forced family dinners. Amanda steered Noah to a table near the window, far from Ellis's corner. He watched them over his laptop screen, noting how Noah cradled the drink, taking small sips, his posture gradually relaxing. "Refill, sir?" A voice startled Ellis from his thoughts. Lily stood beside his table, coffee pot in hand. Yes, thank you," he stammered, suddenly self-conscious. She filled his cup, then paused. "You come in a lot." It wasn't a question, but Ellis felt compelled to respond. "The atmosphere is conducive to work." Lily's eyes crinkled. "Must be some project. You've been at it for weeks." Before Ellis could formulate a response, a crash from across the cafe saved him. A customer had knocked over a chair, and Lily was already moving toward the commotion. Ellis's phone buzzed with a message from his assistant. "Call from Amanda's lawyer. Urgent." His stomach tightened. Nothing good ever came from that quarter. Later that evening, Ellis paced his empty penthouse, the lawyer's words echoing in his mind. Amanda was moving to Seattle, taking Noah with her. The custody agreement gave her that right. The move would happen in 6 weeks. 6 weeks before his son disappeared from his life again, just when Noah was beginning to find something stable in this cafe, with the one person who seemed to reach him. The next day, Ellis arrived at Beanworks earlier than usual. The morning rush had subsided, and Lily was wiping down the espresso machine, humming softly. "Excuse me." Ellis approached the counter, heart racing uncharacteristically. Lily looked up. "Good morning, corner booth. The usual?" "My name is Ellis," he said, then immediately felt foolish. "Nice to meet you properly, Ellis. I'm Lily." She extended her hand across the counter, and he shook it briefly. "What can I get started for you?" "Actually, I wanted to ask about something you made yesterday, for a teenage boy. You called it—" "Quiet Courage," Lily supplied. "Noah's drink." Ellis tried to mask his surprise. "You remember his name?" "I remember most of my regulars, especially the quiet ones." She tilted her head. "Are you related to Noah?" The question caught Ellis off guard. He hadn't planned this conversation properly. "I'm his father," he admitted. Lily's expression shifted, becoming more guarded. "I see. He's never mentioned you." "No, he wouldn't," Ellis said quietly. "We don't connect well. His anxiety, it gets worse around me." The frankness of his own admission surprised him. His therapist suggested I give him space, but I can't just— He trailed off. "You're keeping an eye on him from a distance," Lily completed the thought, her expression softening with understanding. Ellis nodded, relieved she didn't find it creepy. "Noah seems to respond to you," he continued. "I've noticed how he's slowly opening up here." Lily smiled slightly. "He reminds me of my sister when her anxiety was bad. Sometimes quiet people just need space to feel safe before they can open up." "I don't have much time," Ellis blurted out. "His mother is moving him to Seattle next month." Lily looked up, genuine concern crossing her features. "That's rough. For both of you." Before Ellis could respond, the cafe door opened and a group of students entered. "I should get back to work," Lily said. "But Ellis, whatever you're planning, and I can tell you're planning something, remember that with anxiety. Rushing usually backfires." As she turned to greet the new customers, Ellis stood frozen, the weight of the ticking clock heavy on his shoulders. He needed a better plan than throwing money at the problem, but money was the only tool he'd ever really mastered. For 3 days, Ellis avoided the cafe, struggling with what to do next. His penthouse felt cavernous as he paced from room to room, mentally cycling through options. He could try legal channels to block the move, but that would only deepen the rift with Noah. He could offer Amanda a job at his company, a transparent ploy she'd immediately reject. On the 4th morning, Ellis found himself outside Beanworks before it opened. Through the window, he saw Lily counting the register, a worried crease between her eyebrows. When she moved to unlock the door, he stepped back, suddenly uncertain. "You're early," she said, holding the door open. "I wanted to talk, without interruptions." Ellis gestured to the empty cafe. "If that's all right." Lily hesitated, then nodded. "I've got 15 minutes before we officially open." Inside, the cafe smelled of fresh grounds and baking pastries. Ellis perched awkwardly on a stool at the counter while Lily continued her opening routine. "I've been thinking about Noah," Ellis began, "and about what you said, about trust." Lily glanced up from the espresso machine she was preparing. "Did you come up with a plan that doesn't involve throwing money at the problem?" There was no judgment in her voice, just curiosity. Ellis's mouth twitched. "Is it that obvious? That you're wealthy?" "The watch gives it away." She nodded toward his wrist. "That you solve problems with your wallet. Just a hunch." "I founded Meridian Tech," Ellis admitted, watching for the usual reaction. The shift in demeanor people couldn't help when they realized exactly how rich he was. Lily just continued wiping down the counter. "Never heard of it." For some reason, this made Ellis smile. "We make enterprise software. Nothing exciting." "So, what's your non-monetary plan for helping Noah?" Lily prompted, sliding a coffee toward him. Ellis wrapped his hands around the warm mug. That's just it. I don't have one. I've never been good at people, especially not since Sarah, my wife, died. I'm sorry, Lily said quietly. 5 years ago. Cancer. Ellis stared into his coffee. Noah was 10. He needed me to be present, but I buried myself in work instead. By the time Amanda and I divorced 2 years later, he'd stopped trying to reach me. The confession hung in the air between them. Ellis hadn't meant to share so much. Something about Lily's straightforward manner made it easy to be honest. What about you? He asked, eager to shift focus. How did you get so good with people like Noah? Lily leaned against the counter. My sister May has severe anxiety. She's 20 now, but she's needed extra support all her life. You learn to read the quiet ones. Is she doing better now? A shadow crossed Lily's face. Some days. She has a chronic condition on top of the anxiety, autoimmune disease. We had a bad scare last month when she needed hospitalization. She straightened, as if physically shaking off the worry. But we're managing. The door chimed as the first regular customer entered. Lily gave Ellis an apologetic look and moved to serve them. Ellis sat with his cooling coffee, turning over what he'd learned. He'd come seeking help for Noah, but found himself curious about Lily's situation. There was a determined resilience to her that reminded him of Sarah in the early days of their marriage, before wealth had insulated them from life's harsher realities. When the morning rush subsided, Lily returned to where Ellis still sat. You haven't touched your coffee, she observed. I was thinking, Ellis said, about your sister and about Noah. They both need something stable. Lily's expression grew cautious. Ellis, if you're about to offer money. No, he said quickly. Well, not exactly. I have a proposal, a business proposal. Her eyebrows rose. I'm listening. This place, Ellis gestured around the cafe. Noah feels comfortable here. It's the first place I've seen him relax in years. But you said you have plans for your own cafe someday. How did you know that? The notebook. Ellis nodded toward where a worn journal peeked out from beneath the counter. You sketch in it during slow periods. Floor plans, from what I've glimpsed. Lily's cheeks colored slightly. Just daydreaming. What if it wasn't just a dream? Ellis leaned forward. What if you could create a place specifically designed for people like Noah and your sister? A cafe where anxious people feel safe? With your money, Lily stated flatly. With my investment, Ellis corrected. As a silent partner, you would have complete creative control. Lily crossed her arms. And what do you get out of this arrangement? A reason for Noah to stay in town, Ellis admitted. If Amanda sees he has something valuable here, something that helps him, she might reconsider the move. That's manipulative. It's desperate, Ellis countered, but it's also honest. I'm telling you my motives up front. Lily studied him for a long moment. I need to think about it. Of course, Ellis reached into his jacket and produced a business card. My direct number. Call if you have questions. He slid off the stool. And Lily? Thank you for listening. As he walked toward the door, Lily called after him. Ellis? If you're serious about connecting with Noah, maybe start somewhere smaller than launching a business. He turned back. Like what? Like asking what he likes, what he cares about. She shrugged. You know, basic dad stuff. Ellis nodded slowly. Basic dad stuff, he repeated, realizing how foreign those words felt. The following afternoon, Ellis returned to Beanworks during what he knew was Noah's usual time. He chose a table in plain sight rather than his usual corner, not close enough to crowd Noah, but visible. When Amanda and Noah entered, Ellis pretended to be absorbed in his laptop. From the corner of his eye, he saw Noah freeze upon spotting him. For a terrible moment, Ellis thought the boy might bolt. Instead, after a whispered exchange with his mother, Noah slouched toward the counter alone while Amanda found a table. Ellis held his breath as Noah placed his order with Lily. He saw her smile and nod toward Ellis, saying something that made Noah glance back. The boy's expression was unreadable, but after receiving his drink, the same special concoction as before, Noah hesitated, then took halting steps toward Ellis's table. "Mom said you wanted to talk to me," Noah mumbled, eyes fixed on his drink. Ellis closed his laptop. "I do, if that's okay with you." Noah shrugged, the universal teenage signal for reluctant permission. "I won't keep you long," Ellis promised. "I just wanted to ask, what are you reading these days?" Noah looked up, startled by the question. "What?" "Books, or comics, whatever you're into." Ellis's heart hammered in his chest. Basic dad stuff. Mostly sci-fi, I guess." "Any favorites?" Noah's posture remained tense, but something flickered in his eyes, a spark of genuine response. "There's this series about space archaeology. It's pretty cool." "Space archaeology," Ellis repeated, mentally filing away the information. "I'd like to hear more about that sometime. If you wanted." Noah studied his father with a mixture of suspicion and cautious interest. "Maybe," he said finally, which felt like a monumental victory. As Noah returned to his mother's table, Ellis exhaled slowly. He caught Lily watching from behind the counter, a small smile on her lips. She gave him a subtle thumbs up. It wasn't much, just a tiny crack in the wall between him and his son, but for the first time in years, Ellis felt something that resembled hope. 1 week later, Ellis waited outside Meridian Tech's gleaming headquarters, a paper bag in hand. When Noah and Amanda pulled up in her sensible sedan, Ellis straightened his casual sweater, a deliberate choice over his usual suits. "Thanks for coming," Ellis said as they approached, addressing them both, though his eyes lingered on Noah. The boy wore the same oversized hoodie, but his hair was trimmed slightly, revealing more of his face. Amanda's smile was professionally polite. "Noah mentioned you invited him to see where you work." "Just a quick tour," Ellis assured her. "I won't keep him past 5. An awkward pause followed until Amanda checked her watch. "I'll pick you up in the lobby at 5, Noah. Call if you need anything." She squeezed Noah's shoulder before walking back to her car. Left alone, father and son stood in uncomfortable silence until Ellis held up the paper bag. "I got something for you." Noah accepted the bag cautiously, peering inside. His eyes widened as he pulled out a paperback novel. "The new Stellar Artifacts book?" "This just came out yesterday." "The bookstore clerk said it was the next in the space archaeology series you mentioned." Ellis hesitated. "I hope that's right." "Yeah, it is." Noah turned the book over in his hands, a tiny smile forming. "Thanks." Ellis felt a disproportionate surge of triumph at that simple word. "Ready to see where all the boring corporate magic happens?" As they walked through the building, Ellis was acutely aware of Noah's presence beside him, how the boy shrank slightly when they passed groups of employees, how his fingers nervously traced the edge of his new book. Ellis deliberately kept to less crowded corridors. "And this is my office," Ellis said eventually, ushering Noah into a corner suite with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. "Whoa!" Noah moved to the window, momentarily forgetting his shyness. "You can see everything from here." Ellis smiled, seeing the view through fresh eyes. "It gets old after a while. But yes, it's pretty impressive." He paused. "Your mother mentioned you're interested in computers." Noah glanced back, surprised. "She told you that?" "We do occasionally communicate about you," Ellis said dryly. "Would you like to see our development lab? Much more interesting than my office." In the lab, Noah gradually relaxed as Ellis introduced him to the development team. To Ellis's surprise, his son asked several incisive questions about their latest project. One of the younger programmers, Raj, seemed particularly taken with Noah's curiosity. "You've got good instincts," Raj told Noah. "We're actually working on a student coding camp this summer. You should sign up." Noah's face fell. "We're moving to Seattle soon, so—" Ellis interjected smoothly. "The camp has an online component too, right, Raji?" "Absolutely," Raj nodded, picking up on Ellis's cue. "You could still participate remotely." As they left the building later, Noah clutched his new book and a Meridian Tech hoodie Raj had given him. "That was actually pretty cool," he admitted. "Thanks." "I'm glad you came," Ellis said, careful not to overreact to this small victory. "Maybe we could do dinner sometime before—" He trailed off, unable to finish the sentence about the impending move. Noah looked down. "Maybe. I have to check with Mom." Amanda's car appeared at the curb, ending the conversation. Ellis watched them drive away, a mixture of hope and frustration churning inside him. He'd made progress, but time was running out. He needed to talk to Lily. The next morning at Beanworks, Ellis found Lily behind the counter, looking exhausted. Dark circles shadowed her eyes, and her usual energy seemed dimmed. "Rough night?" he asked as she handed him his usual coffee. May had a flare-up, spent most of the night in the ER. She stifled a yawn. "But we're managing." "I'm sorry," Ellis said, meaning it. "Is there anything I can do?" "Unless you can convince our insurance to cover her experimental treatment, not really." Lily attempted a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Ellis held back his immediate impulse to offer financial assistance, remembering her previous reaction. "How about a listening ear?" "After your shift?" Lily regarded him with surprise. "You know, most people ask once about my problems, then never again. They don't actually want the complicated answer." "I'm not most people," Ellis said, "and I've got time." That evening, they sat at a table outside the closed cafe. Lily cradled a tea between her palms, the steam rising in the cool evening air. "May's had this condition since she was 12, Lily explained. "Our parents moved back to Taiwan 2 years ago to care for our grandmother. They send money when they can, but I'm May's primary caregiver now." "That's a lot of responsibility for someone your age," Ellis observed. Lily shrugged. "It's just life. May's brilliant. She's studying graphic design online. But the medical bills—" She trailed off. "That's why I work here and at the diner on Maple. My cafe plans are just a fantasy for now." Ellis thought of his proposal from the previous week. "Have you considered my offer?" "Every day," Lily admitted. "It would solve so many problems, but it feels wrong somehow, using your money to keep Noah in town." "What if that wasn't the only reason?" Ellis leaned forward. "What if it was also about creating something valuable, something that could help people like May and Noah?" "You barely know me," Lily pointed out. "Why would you invest in my dream?" "Because I've seen how you are with Noah. With all your customers, really. You have a gift for making people feel seen." Ellis tapped his fingers on the table, a nervous habit. "And honestly, I need a project that matters, something more meaningful than enterprise software." Lily was silent for a long moment. "If, and that's a big if, I considered this, I'd need guarantees. No corporate takeover, no changing my vision to maximize profits." "I'll sign whatever you want," Ellis promised, "but we should move quickly before Amanda finalizes the Seattle plans." Lily frowned. "That's still manipulation." "It's leverage," Ellis countered. "Look, I'm not proud of using this situation, but I'm running out of options. Noah needs stability, not another upheaval." "Speaking of Noah," Lily said, "how was your visit yesterday? He mentioned you'd invited him to your office." Ellis brightened. "He told you about that?" "He comes in most afternoons now, even without his mom. Yesterday he actually initiated conversation, telling me about some development lab." She smiled. "That's huge progress for him." Ellis felt a warmth spread through his chest. "He's incredible when he opens up. So smart. I've missed so much of his life." "It's not too late," Lily said gently. "But Ellis, whatever happens with this cafe idea, you need to be honest with Noah. No schemes, no manipulation. He deserves the truth." Ellis nodded slowly. "You're right." He pulled out his phone and composed a text to Amanda. "Need to talk about Noah and Seattle. Dinner tomorrow? Important." Her response came almost immediately. "Fine. 7 p.m. The usual place." Ellis showed the message to Lily. "Step 1. "What's step 2? She asked. "Honesty," Ellis said, "even if it costs me everything." As they parted ways, Ellis noticed Lily's worn messenger bag, held together with safety pins. Without a word, he pulled out his wallet and pressed several bills into her hand. "For May's medication," he said firmly when she began to protest. "Not a loan, not charity, just one human helping another. Please." After a moment's hesitation, Lily closed her fingers around the money, tears welling in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. Ellis walked away feeling lighter than he had in years. For once, his money felt like a tool for connection rather than a wall between himself and others. The restaurant was too formal, Ellis realized as soon as he arrived. White tablecloths and hushed conversations. Exactly the kind of place that reminded Amanda of everything she'd grown to resent about their marriage. She was already seated, elegant in a simple blue dress, her expression guarded. "Ellis," she greeted him with a nod. "Thanks for coming." He settled across from her, loosening his tie. "I ordered that Pinot Noir you like." "I don't drink wine anymore," Amanda said, a small reminder of how little he knew about her current life. "But thank you." They ordered, exchanging stilted pleasantries until their appetizers arrived. Finally, Ellis set down his fork. "I'll get to the point. I know about Seattle." Amanda sighed. "I was going to tell you this weekend. It's a good opportunity, Ellis. Senior marketing position, better schools for Noah." "He's just starting to find his footing here," Ellis interrupted. "That coding lab at Meridian, he connected with the team there. And there's this cafe he goes to, where the barista—" "Lily," Amanda supplied. "Yes, he's mentioned her. Several times, actually. It's good that he's found places where he feels comfortable, but that doesn't outweigh the benefits of this move." Ellis took a deep breath. "What if I could offer you a comparable position here, at Meridian?" Amanda's expression hardened. "Using your company to manipulate my career choices? That's low, even for you." "That's not—" Ellis stopped, reconsidering. "You're right. I apologize." The sincerity of his apology seemed to surprise her. She studied him for a moment. "What's really going on, Ellis? This isn't just about a barista and a coding lab." "I'm trying to be a father," Ellis said quietly. "I know it's late. Too late, maybe. But I'm trying." Amanda's face softened slightly. "Noah mentioned you've been talking about those science fiction books he likes." "Space archaeology," Ellis corrected, unable to hide his smile. "Did he tell you he's reading the new one?" "He hasn't put it down." Amanda tilted her head. "You're really making an effort." "I should have years ago." Ellis met her gaze directly. "Amanda, I'm not asking you to give up this opportunity. I'm asking if there's room for compromise. For Noah's sake." "What kind of compromise?" Ellis outlined his idea about Lily's cafe, how it could provide a safe space for Noah, how it aligned with what Noah needed right now. For once, he was completely transparent about his motives. "So, you're funding a coffee shop for a barista you barely know, hoping it will convince me to turn down a job I've worked toward for 3 years?" Amanda raised an eyebrow. "It sounds absurd when you put it that way," Ellis admitted. "Because it is." Amanda shook her head. "But it's also the most selflessly complicated thing you've ever done, which tells me you're serious." She sighed. "The Seattle position doesn't start for 2 months. I'll give you until then to prove this isn't just another impulse project you'll abandon when it gets difficult." The relief Ellis felt was immediate and overwhelming. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet," Amanda warned. "I'm not making promises. And Ellis, Noah needs consistency. Don't disappear on him again." The weight of her words stayed with Ellis as he drove to Beanworks the next morning. The cafe was closed on Mondays, but Lily had agreed to meet him to discuss plans. He found her sitting on the front steps, sketching in her notebook. "Good news," Ellis announced as he approached. "Amanda's given us 2 months to get the cafe up and running before she decides about Seattle." Lily looked up, pencil still poised over her sketch. "So, we're really doing this?" "If you're still interested." Ellis settled beside her on the steps. "I've been thinking about locations. There's a vacant space in the Riverside district that would be perfect." "Whoa, slow down." Lily closed her notebook. "I need to be clear about something. If we do this, It can't just be about keeping Noah in town. What happens if Amanda decides to move anyway? The question caught Ellis off guard. I hadn't thought that far ahead. Exactly, Lily said. I can't build my future on such an uncertain foundation. If I commit to this, I need to know you're committed too, regardless of what Amanda decides. You're right, Ellis acknowledged. I got caught up in the immediate problem. So let me ask you again. What happens if Noah moves to Seattle anyway? Ellis considered the question seriously. Then we build something that helps other people like Noah, and I find ways to maintain my relationship with him, even long distance. He met Lily's gaze. I'm in this either way. She studied him, then nodded slowly. Okay then, show me this location you're thinking about. The vacant storefront exceeded even Lily's imagination. With exposed brick walls, large windows, and a small courtyard in back, it had the perfect bones for what she envisioned. Look at this light, she breathed, turning in a slow circle. And these little nooks would be perfect for people who need quiet spaces. Ellis watched her move through the space, her excitement palpable as she described her vision. Part cafe, part community space, with areas designed specifically for people with anxiety and sensory issues. We could have art programs here, she gestured to one corner. May could teach digital design workshops. And over there, a small library with resources for families. What would you call it? Ellis asked. Lily paused, considering. The brewing ground. Perfect, Ellis smiled. When can you quit your other jobs? I can't just quit, Lily protested. This might not work out. I'll cover your salary while we get established, Ellis said, as an advance against future profits. Before Lily could respond, Ellis's phone rang. Amanda's name flashed on the screen. Sorry, I need to take this. He stepped outside, a knot forming in his stomach. Amanda, everything okay? Her voice was tight with barely controlled panic. It's Noah. He had a major anxiety attack at school. They called an ambulance. Which hospital? Ellis was already moving toward his car. Memorial. Ellis, it's bad. He's asking for you. I'm on my way. Ellis ended the call, turning to find Lily standing in the doorway, concern etched on her face. Noah's in the hospital, he explained quickly. Anxiety attack. I have to go. I'm coming with you, Lily said without hesitation, grabbing her bag. Ellis didn't argue. Together they raced to his car, the plans for the cafe momentarily forgotten in the face of the immediate crisis. At the hospital, they found Amanda pacing in the emergency department waiting area, her composed demeanor cracking. They're still with him, she said as Ellis approached. He couldn't breathe. They're saying it's panic disorder, possibly triggered by the move discussions. Her voice broke. This is my fault. No, Ellis said firmly. We're all trying to do what's best for him. Amanda noticed Lily standing slightly behind Ellis. You're the barista, the one who makes his special drinks. Lily, she confirmed quietly. I hope it's okay that I came. He talks about you, Amanda said simply, which seemed explanation enough. A doctor emerged, calling Noah's name. The three adults moved forward together. Noah's stabilized, the doctor assured them, but I'm concerned about the frequency and severity of these attacks. Has he been under unusual stress lately? Amanda and Ellis exchanged guilty looks. You can see him now, the doctor continued. But please, keep things calm. No stressful topics. Noah lay in the hospital bed looking small and pale, an oxygen monitor clipped to his finger. His eyes widened in surprise when he saw not just his parents, but Lily, too, entering his room. Hey, buddy, Ellis said gently, taking the chair beside the bed. You gave us quite a scare. Sorry, Noah mumbled, eyes downcast. You have nothing to apologize for, Amanda said firmly, standing at the foot of the bed. Lily hung back uncertainly until Noah noticed her. You came too? Of course, she said with a gentle smile. Who else would make sure they get your hot chocolate, right? She nodded toward the untouched hospital beverage on his tray. For the first time since they entered, Noah's lips curved into a faint smile. Ellis watched the interaction. a realization slowly dawning. It wasn't just the cafe that made Noah comfortable. It was Lily herself. She had become an important constant in his son's life, a bridge between Noah and the world. And in that moment, sitting in the sterile hospital room with his ex-wife, his anxious son, and a barista he'd known less than a month, Ellis understood something profound about connection that all his wealth had never taught him. "Noah," he said carefully, "there's something I want to tell you about, something I should have discussed with you from the beginning." "Noah," Ellis continued, aware of Amanda and Lily watching him carefully, "I've been funding a new cafe, one that Lily will run." He glanced at Lily, who gave him an encouraging nod. "I hoped it might give you a reason to stay in town." Noah's eyes widened. "You did that for me?" "Partly," Ellis admitted. "But I also did it because Lily has an amazing vision for a place that could help lots of people. People with anxiety, like you and her sister May." "You're not moving away?" Noah asked, looking between his parents. Amanda stepped closer. "We're still figuring that out, honey." "I don't want to go to Seattle," Noah said quietly but firmly, surprising everyone with his directness. "I just started feeling okay here, with the coding lab and—" He glanced at Lily. "And the cafe." "It's not that simple," Amanda began. "Why not?" Noah's voice grew stronger. "You always tell me to speak up for what I need. This is what I need." The room fell silent. Ellis looked at his son with newfound respect. Beneath the anxiety and shyness lay a strength he hadn't fully appreciated. "Noah's right," Ellis said finally. "Amanda, what if you took the Seattle position but Noah stayed here with me, just for a trial period?" Amanda's eyebrows shot up. "You want primary custody? Ellis, you work 70-hour weeks. How would that even work?" "I'll scale back," Ellis said without hesitation. "Delegate more. Get help if needed." He looked at Noah. "If that's what you want, son." Noah nodded cautiously. "Maybe, but what about Mom?" "I could commute back some weekends," Amanda said slowly, considering the possibility. "And you could visit Seattle during school breaks." "Wait," Lily interjected. "Before everyone makes life-altering decisions, can I suggest something?" She moved closer to Noah's bed. "Noah, what if you helped design parts of the new cafe? Create a space that would be comfortable for you and other teens like you." Noah's face brightened. "Like the coding lab, but cooler?" "Exactly," Lily smiled. "And maybe there's a way your mom can still take her opportunity without everything changing overnight." 2 weeks later, Ellis stood in the empty storefront that would soon become the brewing ground. Contractors milled about, consulting Lily's detailed plans. In one corner, Noah sat with May, Lily's sister, both hunched over a tablet, designing the cafe's logo. "They're getting along well," Lily observed, joining Ellis by the window. "He talks more with her than with me," Ellis said, but there was no bitterness in his voice, just wonder. "Thanks for introducing them." "May needs friends, too." Lily watched her sister laugh at something Noah said. "This project has been good for her." Ellis nodded toward the construction. "We're on schedule, should be open within 6 weeks." "Just in time for Amanda's decision," Lily noted. After Noah's hospitalization, Amanda had negotiated a delayed start date for the Seattle position, giving them all time to consider alternatives. She'd been visiting the cafe site regularly, slowly warming to the idea of a shared custody arrangement. "She's coming around," Ellis said, "especially since I proved I could actually leave the office before midnight for 2 consecutive weeks." "Impressive," Lily teased. She grew serious. "Ellis, regardless of what Amanda decides, you've already succeeded where it counts. Look at him." She nodded toward Noah, who was explaining something to May with animated gestures, his usual self-consciousness momentarily forgotten. Ellis felt a tightness in his chest. "I almost missed this, all of it, if I hadn't seen him with you that day." "But you did see him," Lily said simply, "and you acted on it. That's what matters." The bell above the door jangled as Amanda entered, carrying takeout bags. "Lunch break," she announced. "Noah, May, come eat while it's hot." As they gathered around boxes of Thai food on a makeshift table, Ellis found himself marveling at this unexpected family they'd formed. Amanda discussing marketing strategies with Lily, Noah and May debating the merits of different gaming platforms, and himself content to simply be present in a way he hadn't been for years. When his phone buzzed with a message from the office, Ellis silenced it without looking. Some things were more important than enterprise software. 3 months later, the brewing ground was alive with the hum of conversation and the rich aroma of coffee. In the specially designed quiet corner, a teenage girl with headphones sat sketching, while her mother watched with relief from a nearby table. Behind the counter, Lily expertly crafted her signature drinks, occasionally consulting the handwritten recipes Noah had helped name. Quiet Courage remained the best seller. May managed the digital elements of the business from her wheelchair on good health days and remotely on difficult ones. Her online anxiety support group had outgrown their initial expectations, connecting teens across the city. Amanda visited every other weekend, sometimes bringing prospective clients from her new Seattle position to the increasingly popular cafe. She and Ellis had established a co-parenting rhythm that, while not perfect, prioritized Noah's stability. As for Ellis, he'd surprised everyone, most of all himself, by scaling back his CEO responsibilities to spend 3 afternoons a week at the cafe, often just sitting with his laptop in a corner, available whenever Noah wanted to talk. Sometimes they sat in comfortable silence. Other times Noah would excitedly share his latest coding project or book discovery. Today, Noah was behind the counter with Lily, learning to operate the espresso machine. His hands trembled slightly, but his expression remained determined. "Easy on the pressure," Lily guided gently. "Let the coffee tell you when it's ready." "Like people," Noah said, glancing at his father across the room. "Can't rush them either." Ellis smiled, recognizing his son's growing wisdom. Some things, like trust and healing, couldn't be accelerated with money or power. They needed time to brew properly. As Noah brought over the slightly imperfect latte he'd made, setting it proudly before his father, Ellis realized that in trying to create a safe space for his son, he'd found something he didn't know he needed, a place where he too belonged. Not as a CEO or a wealthy investor, but simply as himself, a father still learning, one small step at a time, how to connect with the people who mattered most. "Well?" Noah asked anxiously. "How is it?" Ellis took a sip and smiled. "It's perfect." And in that moment, despite all its messiness and uncertainty, it truly was. For now, that was enough. Don't forget to like this video if you believe in the power of love to break down walls and bridge any divide. Please do comment your feedback and subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories of family, redemption, and the triumph of love over pride. Remember, it's never too late to change your story.